Buenos dias, mi gente. Welcome back to another episode of Amigas Teaching Amigas. Today, I am going to be showing you how to do a geode on a wine tumbler. Now, this technique is going to be a little bit different than what we are used to seeing on a geode, but I hope that you guys like the technique. Bear with me. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge for myself just because I just want to do things that are going to push me outside of my comfort zone. So, I could have gone with an easy geode, but why not just do it here together with you guys? I hope we are up for the challenge. So stick around. All right, let's go over the materials needed for today's class. As always, you are going to need your selection of glitter. As you can see here, I have no idea which color I'm going to go and use. I never really have an idea. But one thing that I do want to point out is that you do want to have a mixture of chunky and fine glitter, just because for this particular technique we want to make sure that we give it sorry, I can't speak, as much dimension as possible. So we are going to be creating those effects using chunky and fine glitter. We are going to need acrylic paints to match that glitter, a pot where we can combine our Mod Podge with our acrylic paint. You need different size brushes and alcohol ink. And of course, you are going to need your prep tumbler. Again, I am going with a 16-ounce wine tumbler, but if you want to go for a skinny or a tempered tumbler, you can as well. We have our 12-ounce wine tumbler. It doesn't have to be a wine tumbler. You can definitely go with any size that you want. Normally, when you do a geode, they always start from the bottom and they work their way up, right? They start from the bottom and they start to work their way up. For this particular tumbler that I saw on the internet, they did just like a stripe crossing over the tumbler, and I thought that was really cute. They still made it look like a geode, but it didn't have the same geode look that we are used to. So that's what we're gonna attempt today. I do want to go over really quick how I would normally do it if I would do just a normal geode. And the way that I do it is that I grab a pencil and I start to draw in the lines and how I want the pattern to look. Now, the really great thing about geodes is that they are perfectly imperfect. So you don't have to worry about whether the lines are straight, whether one is thinner than the other. If you make it look that perfect, it is not a geode, let me tell you. Especially if you are a crystal owner, you would know. So I would just grab my pencil and then I would just start to draw on the lines and how big or how tall or how thin I wanted them to look. I don't know if you guys can see it. And I would just follow that pattern and switch up my colors one by one, right? Since we are not doing it that way, hopefully this thing erases. Since we are not going to do that for this tumbler, I'm gonna start mixing in my Mod Podge with my acrylic paint. And this time, I just wanna say F this. And we are going to just fake it today. And I'm not gonna write any lines. I am just going to go with instinct and hope for the best. Winging it. That's what I'm doing. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we do here. most of the time. That's, that's how we roll. This is how we're gonna start. Why am I so nervous to begin? You guys know why I'm so nervous though, is because I feel that you guys have this expectation that I should know everything and I should be an expert. And since she's teaching, I should have my stuff together and I should know what I'm doing. But let me tell you something. Most of us crafters have no freaking idea what we're doing. We just go with the flow and we hope for the best and we pray to the lords of the crafting world that it comes out the way that we want it to. So that is probably why I'm so nervous, because I feel that you guys have this crazy expectation that I should know what I'm doing. Pero no, o sea, no. So I'm gonna go in with my darkest purple. And I'm gonna, again, we're gonna do a diagonal. Diagonal? Diagonal? The diagonal? Diagonal? Like these, pues. And I am just going to go in and make, I don't want to have it like fully straight. So I am just going to go in with a thicker coat. And then we don't want our Mod Podge to dry. Or our acrylic paint to dry. So we are going to go in really quick with our glitter. I'm going to use It's Tricky first by BJ's Glitter. And I'm just going to go in and fill that baby up. Of course, I touch it with my hand. Make sure that you grab something and hit it to remove any excess. Then I'm just going to grab a clean brush and I'm just going to try to remove all that excess. But that's the first one. I'm going to grab my heat gun and just speed up the process of my acrylic paint or my Mod Podge drying so that I can go in with the clean brush and take off all the excess. Now I am going to go in with the blue. For this particular section, I am going to go in with the one that has the shapes just so that I can see if it makes it look a little bit different. And I don't know, I feel like it is going to look different. So again, don't be afraid. Just, even if it overlaps, that's fine too. Going with the shapes. This is You Matter by Graham's Glitter House, I believe. Ooh, see, I love that. There were some areas that didn't get anything because, again, my thing dried before I could apply anything. But what I'm going to do is that it has shapes. So there's going to be gaps whether I wanted them or not. So what we're gonna do is I am gonna get another shade that's closest to the color, and I am going to go over it so that hopefully it can cover those little gaps. Okay, I'm gonna use just a fine color that matches the one that I just did, and I am going to pour it over the glitter that I just added. By me doing this, I am filling in those gaps that did not make it. This is how it's looking. It is, we do have a lot of shapes, and is, I don't know if you can tell or you can see, a lot of it is sticking out. So in order for us to be able to flatten our glitter, we are going to use parchment paper to do that. You're gonna grab your piece of parchment paper. You're gonna grab your tumbler. And you are going to just roll it down. Now it's a little bit difficult to do it with a wine tumbler, especially because we did do the bottom. It's easier when it's a straight tumbler. But just roll it down. Give it a little bit of a massage. And then when you unroll it, all of those little pieces should be flattened as much as possible. All right, so we are about done. We just need to do the final layer of the white coat. Okay, the problem that I'm seeing is that I don't have white acrylic paint. And I don't have fine acrylic paint. And there's a lot of glitter that's just, it just stuck there. So, if I just place my glitter over it, everything that you guys see here, it's going to show through. Let's figure this out together, y'all. I'm gonna go over it with alcohol. See if that helps. Why is it like that?
Because you just put alcohol on the paint.
Do not do what I just did. Because
Nope.
now there's cotton. How am I gonna fix this? We're just gonna flake it, guys. Let's just flake it. I have this marble paint. Will that work?
It's only one way to know.
this is where the alcohol ink comes in place. I am using Amethyst by Ranger. And I am going to be adding just a little bit on my pot here. I really hope this works. Because I don't want to make it like a... I don't want my ends to look like a straight line. Like, I want it to look more broken. So I'm going to grab a very, very thin marker.
Thin.
And I am going to place it alongside the edge of the glitter. And it's going to create like those little veins. You see that? I do have to go in with a second coat. There's still a lot of spots that I would love for them to be just a little bit more filled. Even that, I think it came out cute. I'm gonna seal it with clear acrylic spray paint, and then I'm gonna epoxy it. It is going to need, because again I do have those chunky mixes, it is going to need at least 2 to 3 layers before I can go and sand it down. Once it's fully epoxy, that's where you would go over with your markers if you want to. Honestly, it's just a preference. I personally think that I might just leave it like this because the colors do a really good job at giving it that contrast. Normally when you use your acrylic markers, it is so that way it can show contrast between each color. But I like it like this. It's very shiny, very, very, very beautiful. In this part right here, you can enter like a code or a name. Of course, if I would have done it equally, both parts, this will probably would have been a little bit more smaller. But like I said, when it comes to geodes, it doesn't really matter because they're not perfect. They shouldn't be perfect. But again, the marker, it's just a preference whether you want it or not. We did it. We did it. We did it. We did it. See, this is what happens when you just trust the process, when you believe in yourself, and when you're not really afraid to step out of your comfort zone. I loved it.